Stop everything you're doing right now and listen to me. That voice in your head telling you everyone's judging you? It's not coming from them. It's not coming from the world around you. It's coming from a part of yourself that you've been ignoring your entire life. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to prove it to you using a poem I wrote called Judgmental Me, breaking down each line to show you exactly how your shadow operates and how to silence it forever. But first, let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. Have you ever posted something online and obsessively checked for reactions? Have you ever walked into a coffee shop and thought the barista was judging your order? Have you ever had a conversation and spent hours replaying every word? If you're nodding right now, you're not broken. You're not overthinking. You're just listening to the wrong voice. And that voice? In Persian mysticism, we call it the nafs. In Jungian psychology, it's the shadow. In my poetry, I call it the whisperer within. Let me tell you something that will blow your mind. Scientists had people give presentations, then asked presenters how much they thought the audience judged them. Average answer? 7 out of 10. Then they asked the audience how much they actually judged. Average answer? 2 out of 10. The gap between what we think is happening and what's actually happening is massive. But here's the shocking part. The voice creating that gap isn't random. It's a part of you created in childhood, living in your unconscious mind, running your emotional life without permission. This is where my poem Judgmental Me becomes a mirror for your soul. Let me read you the opening lines, and as I do, listen with your recognition. You feel their eyes, their whispers near. A stage is set in daily fear. Do you hear that? A stage is set. Your shadow doesn't just react to judgment. It creates an entire theater in your mind where you're always the performer and everyone else is the critic. But here's the psychological truth hidden in those lines. Your brain has something called the spotlight effect. You believe you're the center of everyone's attention because that's how your shadow sees the world, as a stage where you're perpetually being evaluated. But the next lines reveal the illusion. But truth be told, they rarely see, not nearly as much as you believe them to be. This isn't just poetry. This is psychological reality. Most people are thinking about their own problems, their own insecurities, their own inner dramas. They're not obsessing over your mistakes because they're too busy worrying about their own. But your shadow doesn't deal in reality. It deals in projection. Which brings me to the most revealing couplet in the entire poem. Random weights we treat as true, yet bias clouds the clearer view. Let me break this down, because this line contains the key to everything. Random weights we treat as true. This is what psychologists call the anchoring effect. Your mind takes random information, a glance, a pause in conversation, someone not texting back immediately, and treats it as meaningful evidence. But here's where Persian mysticism meets modern psychology. The word weights isn't accidental. In Sufi tradition, the ego self, the nafs, literally weighs down the spirit with false interpretations. Your shadow takes weightless moments and makes them heavy with meaning. Yet bias clouds the clearer view. This is the shadow's ultimate trick. It makes you think you're seeing clearly, when you're actually seeing through the filter of your own unhealed wounds. The next lines get even deeper. A number first, a thought aligned, shapes decisions, traps the mind. This is about first impressions, but not the way you think. It's not about the first impression others have of you. It's about the first impression your shadow creates about any situation. That initial thought, they don't like me, I'm not welcome here, I said something wrong, becomes the lens through which you interpret everything that follows. Your shadow shapes decisions. It makes you avoid opportunities, hold back in conversations, second guess your instincts. It literally traps your mind in a prison of false interpretations. But here's where the poem becomes a roadmap for freedom. It cannot switch off nor disappear. But know its grip, stay sharp, stay clear. This is ancient wisdom. You can't kill your shadow. It's part of being human. But you can learn to see its grip the moment you recognize the shadow's voice as separate from reality. It loses its power over you. Let me give you 4 practices based on these poetic insights that will change your relationship with your inner critic forever. Practice 1. The witness breath. When judgmental thoughts arise, take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, repeat, I am the witness, not the thought. This breaks the shadow's illusion of being you. Try it right now. Think of the last time you felt judged. Breathe 3 times and repeat those words. Feel that shift? That's your first taste of freedom. Practice 2. The random weight test. When you catch yourself treating someone's behavior as meaningful evidence against you, ask, is this a random weight I'm treating as true? 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. Practice 3. The first thought challenge. Notice the very first thought your mind creates about any social situation. That's your shadow speaking. Then ask, what if the opposite were true? Practice 4. The grip recognition. This comes directly from the poem. Know its grip. Start naming your shadow when it appears. There's my shadow, telling me I'm not welcome. But here's where Persian mysticism and Nordic stillness create something beautiful. In my book Persiansk, I explore how Persian wisdom teaches us to witness our inner states without being consumed, while Nordic mindfulness teaches us to find peace in discomfort. Together, they create what I call aware stillness, the ability to watch your shadow without being controlled by it. The poem continues. The first impression lingers long, the early call, the loudest song. This is your shadow's greatest weapon. It makes its voice the loudest song in your mind. But what if you could change the music? What if instead of "they're judging me," the loudest song became, "I wonder what they're really thinking"? What if instead of "I don't belong here," it became, "I'm curious about this experience"? The poem's final wisdom. Turn the page, search anew, challenge all you thought you knew. Completion lures, but step with care. Not all endings are truly there. Your shadow promises you certainty. It says, I know what they're thinking. I know how this will end. I know you're not enough. But all of that is illusion dressed as truth. Not all endings are truly there. Most of the catastrophic conclusions your shadow draws never actually happen. They exist only in the theater of your mind. What happens when you start practicing this? At first, your shadow gets louder. It resists being seen. But then something magical occurs. You start walking into rooms thinking, I wonder what's on their minds, instead of, they're all judging me. You post something online and feel curious about reactions instead of anxious. You have conversations and stay present instead of replaying every word. This isn't positive thinking. This is what happens when you stop letting an unconscious part of yourself run your conscious life. When you stop projecting your inner judge onto the world, you start seeing the world as it actually is. And the world, my friend, is far kinder than your shadow has convinced you it is. So here's my challenge for you. For the next 24 hours, every single time you feel judged, pause and ask, is it really them or is it my shadow speaking? Do this for just one day. Then come back and tell me in the comments what you discovered. Because in that moment of questioning, in that pause between stimulus and response, you are no longer trapped by unconscious patterns. You are awake. You are free. If this resonated with you, if you felt seen in your struggle with the inner critic, then you'll love my book Persiansk, where I dive deeper into blending Persian mystical wisdom with Nordic stillness for modern life. You can find more information about the book in the description below. Your shadow has been running your life long enough. It's time to take back control. Welcome, my friend, to the lifelong art of walking beside your shadow without being led by it. If these whispers stirred something in you, sign up through my landing page to receive a free gift from Persiansk in your email. And this is Persiansk Philosophy.